Arya and the Hound reach the twins earlier than they should, close enough to hear music, horses and the noise of a wedding feast inside the Frey castle. Arya is not only a lost girl here, she is a Stark near another Stark, and Grey Wind is chained nearby, restless, furious, and sensing the trap before men do. Through the old bond between Stark blood and direwolves, Arya feels panic before she understands it. The Hound wants to turn back. He sees too many Freys, too many guards, and too many chances for a ransom to become a corpse. Arya refuses. They move through the outer yards while the castle is busy with drinking and false celebration. Grey Wind is being guarded because the Freys know exactly how dangerous Robb's wolf is. Arya and Sandor cut through the kennel guards fast and ugly. Grey Wind breaks free, larger than any war dog, already smelling blood and betrayal. Arya does not get a clean reunion with Robb. She gets something better for the moment. A direwolf loose inside the twins before the first blade is drawn. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here we delve deep into the rich lore of the Lord of the Rings, a song of ice and fire, and the vast worlds beyond. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The Red Wedding still begins. Walder Frey still smiles through rotten teeth. Rose Bolton still wears treachery under courtesy. Robb is inside the hall with Catelyn, Edmure, Great Jon Umber, Dacy Mormont, Wendell Manderly, Small Jon Umber, and men who think the worst part of the night is Frey pride. Then the music changes. The Rains of Castamere crawls through the hall. Catelyn sees the mail under a sleeve and the doors are already being sealed. The first bolts hit before the Starks can form properly. Dacy dies trying to reach Robb. Wendell Manderly is cut down at the tables. Catelyn screams for Robb, while Frey crossbows and Bolton Steel turn a wedding into a slaughterhouse. But Robb does not fall immediately. Great Jon throws men aside like furniture and drags Stark loyalists into a rough shield around their king. Robb is wounded but still standing, sword in hand, with the young wolf's men dying around him instead of letting him die first. Catelyn still cannot save everyone. Her last fight is to keep Robb alive long enough for something outside the hall to matter. Outside the hall, Grey Wind becomes the thing Walder Frey failed to control. Arya follows the wolf through the confusion, and the Hound follows Arya because by now he knows the girl will run into death with or without him. They are joined by surviving Stark and Tully men who are not trapped in the feast, including riders pulled together by the Blackfish. Brynden Tully had left the hall before the trap closed, and that small difference becomes the crack in the massacre. The Blackfish understands the twins better than the panicked soldiers around him. He does not try to save the whole castle. He strikes for the hall, because if Robb dies, the war dies with him. Grey Wind tears through Frey guards near the doors. The Hound cuts a path with brutal speed. Arya sees the hall open and hears Catelyn before she sees her. Sandor holds her back, because 1 second of grief would get her killed. The rescue force crashes in just as Robb's line is breaking. Catelyn dies in the chaos, but Robb is pulled out alive. Once Robb is seen alive outside the hall, the massacre stops being clean. Freys panic because the dead king they were promised is still breathing. Bolton men try to close ranks, but loyal Northerners and Riverlords rally to Robb's voice. Great Jon fights like a trapped giant buying time in blood. Grey Wind turns corridors into a hunting ground, and every Frey soldier who hesitates gives the Starks another step toward the outer yard. The Blackfish makes the hard call. They cannot retake the twins and they cannot save the dead. They need Robb out because a living king can still punish betrayal. The escape is ugly. Men die at stairways, in stables, and near the river gate. Arya finally reaches Robb, not in a warm reunion, but in the middle of smoke, screaming, and horses breaking loose. The Hound gets them mounted. A few hundred loyalists make it out with Robb, Arya, Sandor, Grey Wind, and the Blackfish. Great Jon is badly wounded and captured, holding the pursuit back. The survivors flee into the woods following the direwolf, while the twins burn with the knowledge that the plan failed. Robb cannot march north openly. The Freys, Boltons and Lannisters will chase him until the last Stark banner is dead. So the Blackfish designs a lie worthy of the Riverlands. Most of the surviving Stark and Tully men race toward Riverrun, carrying Robb's banners, using his spare cloak, and spreading the story that the wounded young wolf has taken shelter inside his mother's castle. The move makes sense to their enemies. Riverrun has walls, food, Tully loyalty, and Edmure as a hostage piece the Freys can use. While the decoy moves, Robb disappears with Arya, the Hound, Grey Wind, and a small guard into the wet roads and hidden tracks leading toward the Neck. They are not running to Winterfell yet. They're going to Greywater Watch, because Howland Reed is the one Lord No Frey cavalry can find, and no Lannister army can besiege in a normal way. Robb trusts the Crannog men because his father trusted them. Arya trusts Grey Wind because the wolf chooses the path. Behind them, the Freys and Boltons see the banners moving toward Riverrun and take the bait. The Neck does not welcome armies, it swallows them. Robb's small company enters fog, blackwater, reeds, insects and paths that seem to move when no one is looking. The Hound hates every step. Arya understands the danger before the men do. Grey Wind growls at empty reeds until arrows appear from nowhere. Crannog men surround them with nets, frog spears and silent bows. Robb names himself, names his father, and names Howland Reed as the friend who stood with Ned at the Tower of Joy. That saves them. They are taken to Greywater Watch, a castle that is more secret than stone, and Howland Reed receives them as survivors of a war that has finally reached the old magic of the North. Howland already knows pieces of the truth through Jojen and Mira. His children went to Bran because the Green Dreams told them the Stark boy mattered. Now he tells Robb that the war in the south is not the only war. Dead things are moving beyond the wall, the old enemy is waking and Bran is walking toward the heart of it. The Freys put Riverrun under siege believing Robb is inside. They need that to be true because their victory at the Twins is useless if the young wolf escapes into the Neck. Walder Frey's sons want proof, Rose Bolton wants certainty, and the Lannisters want the rebellion finished before the realm learns the Red Wedding failed. Tywin sends Kevan Lannister with western strength to tighten the siege and keep the Freys from bungling the prize. Then King's Landing shifts. Joffrey dies at the Purple Wedding, Tommen takes the throne, and Jaime returns damaged from captivity and the road with Brienne. He recovers enough to receive the Valyrian steel sword Tywin had made from ice, then rides to Riverrun to finish what the Red Wedding did not. Jaime brings a different weapon, hostages. Edmure Tully can be threatened. Jane Westerling can be used as Robb's wife. Riverrun can be pressured by law, hunger, and fear. But Robb never appears on the walls. The Blackfish answers every demand with silence, and that silence makes Roose Bolton suspicious. Roose Bolton understands absence better than the Freys. A wounded king hiding in Riverrun would eventually be seen by a scout, a singer, a washerwoman, or a frightened guard. Robb is not seen because Robb is not there. Rose studies the path from the Twins, the direction of the first escape, the missing direwolf, and the old Stark loyalty in the Neck. He realises the young wolf has gone to Greywater Watch. Rose cannot leave the Riverrun siege himself, because he needs to claim the North through the appearance of Lannister strength and Frey success. So he sends Ramsay with Bolton men, hunters and dogs into the swamps. It is exactly the wrong weapon for the wrong place. Ramsay knows terror, but the Crannog men know mud, poison, water and disappearance. At Greywater, Robb refuses to hide behind Howland's walls while others bleed for him. He prepares an ambush with Reed scouts, Arya, the Hound, Grey Wind, and the last loyal Stark guards. Ramsay thinks he's hunting a broken wolf. Instead, he walks into a marsh built to kill flayed men. Ramsay's attack on Greywater Watch becomes a battle fought by rules the Boltons do not understand. Their horses sink into soft ground, dogs lose sense in black water, men vanish under reeds before they can form a line. Crannog men strike from boats, trees and mist, then disappear before Bolton spears can answer. Ramsay drives forward anyway because cruelty has always worked for him. Then Grey Wind enters the fight. Bolton hounds rush the direwolf, and the swamp erupts into teeth, blood, and howling. Arya fights beside Reed men with a small blade and old rage. The Hound cuts through Bolton soldiers while cursing the mud. Robb meets Ramsay in the chaos, not as a dead king's memory, but as the living Stark the Boltons failed to bury. Ramsay is vicious, quick, and fearless in the worst way, but Robb is larger, armoured, and fighting with the knowledge of every betrayal behind him. Robb defeats him and takes him alive, because a dead Ramsay is revenge, but a captured Ramsay is proof against ruse. For the first time since the twins, the Boltons lose control of the story. While Robb survives in the Neck, Catelyn returns in a worse form. Beric Dondarrion gives his life, and Lady Stoneheart rises with the wound in her throat and the Red Wedding burned into what remains of her mind. She does not know Robb is at Greywater Watch. She believes her son is trapped at Riverrun, surrounded by Freys, Lannisters and traitors. Then she finds another weapon in the Riverlands, Nymeria's giant wolf pack, the wild shadow of Arya's lost direwolf. Stoneheart and the wolves turn toward Riverrun like vengeance given teeth. At Greywater, Howland pushes Robb toward the larger truth. Robb sends a raven to Jon at the Wall, confirming that Bran's path, the Reed Green dreams, and the stories of dead men are real. Then he sends another raven to Stannis. Robb offers the one thing no one expects. He will bend the knee if Stannis helps save the North from the Boltons and the White Walkers. Melisandre sees the same warning in the flames. The South still thinks the war is about Riverrun, the twins and the Iron Throne. But Robb now knows the next war is coming from the snow, and if you want to see where this war goes next, subscribe, and we will continue the story. If you're interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.